Hello and welcome into the world of current affairs. I am Anshul Pathak and I'll discuss about the important current happenings around us. In that respect, let us start our session now. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the United Nations General Assembly for the general debate in the 75th session of the General Assembly. The theme of the 75th General Assembly was "The Future We Want, the United Nations We Need," reaffirming our collective commitment to multilateralism, confronting the COVID-19 through effective multilateral action. As the United Nations General Assembly this year is being held in the backdrop of the COVID-19 pandemic, it is being conducted mostly virtually. Prime Minister Modi's address is therefore via a pre recorded video statement. In that respect, let us start the important features of Prime Minister's address. But before that, we should have to discuss about the United Nations General Assembly first. United Nations organization was formed on 24th October 1945, way back in 1945. There used to be some members, but now at present there are 193 members. The last member who joined United Nations organization was South Sudan. South Sudan became the member of United Nations organization in 2011. The activities include maintaining international peace and security, protecting human rights, delivering humanitarian aid, promoting sustainable development, and upholding international law are the main activity part of United Nations General Assembly. It works on the system of universal representation. So let us start about the function and presidential process of United Nations General Assembly. Each year in September, the full UN membership meets in the General Assembly Hall in New York, United States, is performed every year. Each and every year, the President of United Nations General Assembly is elected. This time, Turkish diplomat Volkan Bozkir was elected as the President of General Assembly by a voting system. He won the vote through two-third majority. So there is the difference in between the process of the other decisions of General Assembly and the election of the President. For the election of the President, two-third majority is required, but for all other decisions, only simple majority is required. So this is the difference in the process of General Assembly. So let us start the key features of this UN General Assembly meet. On 23rd September 2020, Turkish Premier Tayyip Erdogan raised the Kashmir issue in United Nations General Assembly. India opposed his remark by saying that don't interfere in our internal affairs. After his remark, Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan stated again the Kashmir issue and revoking of Article 370. It was again opposed by Indian diplomats. Here are the highlights of Prime Minister Modi's speech in United Nations General Assembly. It was a very symbolic speech, I can say. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on 26 September addressed the 75th session of the United Nations General Assembly. During his pre recorded address, he touched upon important issues such as the need for reforming the United Nations as an institution, India's COVID fight, the Atmanirbhar Bharat scheme, terrorism, and the various other achievements of his government. So, a striking feature of the Prime Minister's address was his grilling of the world body, which is known as United Nations Organization. During his speech, Prime Minister Modi called for serious introspection of the United Nations work as it completes 75 years of its existence and questioned the body's effort over the last few months in view of the COVID-19 pandemic. Prime Minister also questioned the United Nations hesitancy in making India a permanent member. That's why he stated that reform is needed at the United Nations and India is waiting for that reform. He again stated that United Nations Security Council is the United Nations highest decision making forum. There are five members in United Nations Security Council. These are likewise the United States, the United Kingdom, China, Russia, and France. Among the five members of UN Security Council, three belongs to Europe. Only one representation belongs to the Asia, and Asia is known as the highest population of the world. Most of the population, most of the demographic representation belong to the Asia, and there is only one representation in the United Nations Security Council. So it must be enhanced, and India would be the better option. That was the crux of his speech. India is proud of the fact that India is the founding member of UN. The world was significantly different in 1945. The problems, the solutions were all different. The challenges of our present and future are now different. So each and everything has been changed after 75 years of the incorporation of United Nations organization. So the concepts and ideologies of the United Nations organizations must be changed. That was the main remark of his speech. It is true that the third world did not happen to say, but it cannot be denied that there has been many wars, many civil wars have also taken place. How many terror attacks kept the rivers of blood flowing? It was the exceptional remark which was given by Prime Minister Modi. When we were weak, we didn't trouble the world. When we became strong, we didn't become a burden on the world. Till when do we have to wait? So, in that respect, he stated the ideology of the Indian culture and ethics, which is known as the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, and Vishwa Kalyan was also there, which is known as the global welfare. These concepts are related to Indian culture and ethics, and these are also related to the United Nations organization. India has given two international days, almost two international days, which are International Day of Non-Violence and International Day of Yoga on 22nd October and 21st June respectively. In that respect, he wanted to focus India's achievement, India's contribution into the United Nations organization and global world. Apart from that, he stated about neighborhood first policy to look east policy. Through these policies, he wanted to emphasize that when India strengthens its development partnership with the country, it was not with any malified intent of making the partner country dependent or helpless. United Nations General Assembly said that a gesture of friendship by India towards one country is not directed against any third country. So this remark was also an important one. Again, he stated about the global pandemic. He said that during the time of global pandemic, India supplied around one country of its Indian pharmaceuticals. Our vaccination production will help in bringing the world out of the pandemic. World's largest vaccine manufacturing company belongs to India, which is Serum Institute of India, and which is owned by Adar Poonawalla. So Adar Poonawalla stated his remark recently after the uh, speech of Modi in United Nations General Assembly, that he stated that does the government have 80,000 crore for COVID-19 vaccines? Because PM Modi wanted to vaccinate each and every person of the country. That's why for the entire population to vaccinate, there would be the requirement and there would be investment required, which is around 80,000 crore rupees. So government of India is capable to invest such a huge amount to vaccinate each and every person in our country. So this was the remark of Adar Poonawalla on his Twitter handle, India will stand for Shanti, Suraksha, and Samriddhi, in which he stated that for peace, for safety, and for prosperity, India will stand for this. We will always oppose drugs, illegal weapons, etc. India's experience will strengthen the way for Vishwa Kalyan, again for global welfare kind of thing. India brought changes through reform, perform, and transform process. So this is the important process. Let us discuss about this process. Reform, perform, and transform. As you are watching that, banking and IBC. IBC belongs to Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code has brought a new era of reform. Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India is established. The IBC saves judicial time and has an ecosystem which has gone down well across the board. As you are watching in these statistics, that it proposed further recapitalization of public sector banks, which would be around 70,000 crores, recovery of 4 lakh crore in last 4 years due to IBC and other measures, provision coverage ratio of banks highest in 7 years. According to the other laws, just like Sarfasi Act is also established, Lok Adalat, etc., were also established during the time of reform, perform, and transform. This was the discussion related to the banking and IBC. Let us discuss about GST, Goods and Services Tax. Taxpayers having annual turnover of less than 5 crore rupees can now file quarterly returns. Fully automated GST refund module shall be implemented. An electronic invoice system is proposed that will eventually eliminate the need for a separate e-way bill. So it was the complete transformation for the taxation system in India. Again, we discuss about the reform, perform, and transform system in respect of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. More than 95% cities and 5.6 lakh villages declared open defecation free. More than 45,000 public and community toilets uploaded on Google Map. So it shows and it reflects the sustainable social waste management system. And through this, we can say that whatever Modi addressed in his speech into United Nations General Assembly to reform, perform, and transform is quite good. Again, he stated that in 4 5 years, linking 400 500 million with the banking system was not an easy task. Now, transactions are going digitally through the financial inclusion concept by enhancing Prime Minister Jan Dhan Yojana, which was introduced 6 years ago. And as you are watching in the statistics, from August 15 to August 20, there is a drastic change into the account holders, which are drastically increasing in crores. So that's why we can see that 4 to 5 years linking of 400 to 500 million people with the banking system is actually a nice and exceptional effort which was taken by government of India. Another remark was on TB, tuberculosis. Last year, Minister of Science and Technology and Minister of Health and as well as Minister of Health and Earth Sciences, Dr. Harshvardhan declared that India would be free from tuberculosis by 2020. The end TB wanted leaders. So this was another exceptional remark stated by Prime Minister Modi in the global level. India has also initiated a huge process of connecting villages with optical fiber, which is initiated by the world's largest rural connectivity scheme, which is known as BharatNet. BharatNet has the target to connect 1.25 lakh gram panchayat with optical fibers. It is not a easy task. which has been transforming the entire nation. That's why government of India and Prime Minister Modi remarked likewise. Again, he introduced in the global level Atmanirbhar Bharat program, which will which will multiply the Indian economy at world level. In this respect, when this policy was introduced, five pillars were introduced for self-reliance. These pillars were economy, infrastructure, system, demography, and demand. These pillars were standing on the labor, land, liquidity, and laws. Four type of concepts have been included to perform the better connectivity, to perform the better sustainability, and to perform the better economy. The overall stimulus for Atmanirbhar Bharat, which was provided, was 20 lakh crore. It is the highest in terms of allocation, it is the highest scheme. We are promoting women enterprises. India is one of the countries where women get 26 weeks paid maternity leave. It was all done by Ministry of Women and Child Development through a bill which is known as the Maternity Belief Amendment Bill, which was came into existence in 2016. So he again stated a important remark on transgender community, which is belong to the global level. So he summed up his he summed up his speech by the words, likewise, on the occasion of 75th anniversary, let us all dedicate ourselves for welfare of the world. So it was all which I can share with you on the speech of Prime Minister Modi in United Nations General Assembly. So thank you for listening me patiently. If you liked my video, please do like and share it with which will enhance my motivation, and thank you. Stay home, stay safe, and do take extra care of yourself. Thank you.